Hello again, Kat here from MoFi Electronics, and today I have with me the MoFi Electronics MasterPhono. Again, since I've started with MoFi, I've spent a lot of time with this unit. Some of you may have already spent a lot of time with it. It's been on the market for almost a year now, but I think it to be a very, very special unit. I've run many different cartridges through it to challenge the gain, challenge the impedance, challenge the different inputs and outputs, and I don't know of any other phono amp that will give you the flexibility, technical design, and soundstage that this phono amp will in the UK. So this unit retails for around £6,000. That seems like a heavy number, but if you're a vinyl collector, you've got maybe a few different turntables or cartridges, this will handle anything. It's not your conventional phono stage in that it does come in this dual chassis design. You can see the really cool copper pipes in between. Those are for shielding and to house the cables that are from the front end to the back end. It's very important the way that this was designed, and it was designed by a guy called Peter Magnick. Something that I love about MoFi is bringing all these great designers and engineers together to create a beautiful product, and Peter did that. He is known in the audio industry for creating power supplies and analog circuitry and doing it very well. He comes from companies like Audio Alchemy, Constellation. When you get the man of analog circuitry designing a phono stage, it's very exciting. Phono stages can be really difficult to design, particularly in this way with all the different bells and whistles, because it's a unit that sits in between your cartridge and your amplifier, and it's amplifying your cartridge, which is a very, very, very tiny signal. And so once that cartridge is hitting your phono amp, it needs thousandths to increase the gain in order to then hit your amplifier at a healthy signal. So being able to achieve all of this in one box for the price is, well, it's just great. It's got the VU meters on it. Those are analog meters. It's fabulous. I think a lot of you guys might be saying, well, do the meter and the lights, is that going to hinder their performance? And I'm here to tell you no. This is one of the quietest phono stages I've ever heard, throwing every cartridge at it for the price. In the front part, you do have the power supply, the microprocessing, the circuit controls, and the display. And then in the back, you've got all of the sensitive bits, the analog circuitry, the passive RIAA EQ that Peter's designed, and the inputs and outputs. So again, that is the reason why it's a dual chassis design. Everything we talk about in electronics, and really, quite frankly, Peter's philosophy is the audio circuit needs to just get out of the way. What we're trying to achieve here is the most neutral sounding phono stage at any gain or impedance level. And I do believe he did that. I mean, throwing any cartridge at it on pretty much any of these turntables, whether I was using, an SME or a VPI, like I can tell what the turntable and cartridge are doing, and this kind of remained my constant. Just really quick, you do get pretty much any impedance value you'd want, any resistant value you want for an MC or MI cartridge. I mean, you're going to be running at 47K. And then any gain setting that you want, it will go all the way up to 70 decibels of gain. So I really think safely you could run a 0.2 millivolt or higher with this phono stage. It does come with a cool remote. It's got a little bit of weight to it, so it feels nice in the hands. You can choose your inputs. You can dial in your gain, your impedance. You can turn the light on and off if it's bothering you or you don't like the orange. And you can do a stereo mono switch and also turn on or off the subsonic filter. All of those adjustments in one phono stage is pretty special, but I'll take you to the back really quick. You do get single-ended and XLR inputs, as well as single-ended and XLR outputs. So again, it'll work with any system. One of the inputs that is very special on this unit is called a transimpedance unit. Moving coil cartridges often generate current, and this, instead of going from current to voltage in a standard RIAA phono stage, this is going to just see the current. So it just takes out that resistance value. It basically is taking out any chatter or any weight or any anything from that, any energy from the cartridge. So it gives you a bit more faster transient response, a bit more bass response. It actually makes everything feel a bit more lightweight, which is kind of nice. I have experimented with transimpedance phono stages before. CH Precision also comes to mind. Sutherland from the US, shout out, Ron. And I think all of us collectively have said that we think you should stick with 10 ohms or under internal impedance when you're running a moving coil cartridge into the transimpedance part of a phono stage. Internal impedance, 10 ohms or lower, and you should get a really healthy sound from your analog system. I mentioned in the back of the circuitry, the passive RIAA equalization. A lot of records cut in the 50s to now, we're using an EQ curve called RIAA, and most phono stages are creating the opposite of that when you're running playback, and they use chips or some type of feedback to achieve that. Peter has done discrete circuitry. This entire thing is discrete, by the way. I mean, it's his art in this phono stage. That gives him control over the sound, over all of the parts and any design element that's going on in this, and he can add or subtract to help reduce noise and to give us all the options needed. The RIAA circuitry, and we are going to open this up so you can see exactly what's going on inside the unit. He's using precision 0.1% resistors. He's using polyester capacitors, polypropylene foil capacitors as well. So he's using all of the best components inside of this unit to achieve a completely neutral sound. And that's given him, I think, a measurement of 0.05 dB accuracy for RIAA. So for all of you nerds out there, you know what that number means. And then for anyone in layman's terms, this is a very organic sounding phono amp. It will, your records are going to sound exactly like how they were recorded. I also mentioned that Peter is known for power supplies, so he sort of has this cascading effect with the voltage power supply, and that's basically, like in my mind, daisy chaining any of the electrical circuit down through the power supply so that all of that noise is reduced as soon as you get to the output. All of these little design elements make a massive difference, and to design a discrete circuitry versus just using something like op amps or some type of chip to amplify, it can be expensive, it's very time consuming, and again, I kind of mentioned it's like Peter's work of art. This is why it's very important. Every little design element matters. This phono stage comes in walnut, and it also comes in black, so I feel like it fits in most systems. It also gives you a chassis and signal ground. So if you have a very difficult system and you're kind of chasing that ground, you've got those two options to help you, identify what's going on and help take that away. Lastly, I want to touch upon, which if you have this phono stage already, maybe you know or don't know, and if you don't have this phono stage, it's really cool to know. It's like Peter's little secret. And it's not notated in the manual, which is why I call it a secret. It does have something called test modes. So if you have a test record, and there's many different test records out there, Analog Productions, Shure, Ortofon, a lot of different test records out there. You do need one, but if you press and hold the meter button for about 3 to 5 seconds, it'll go into test mode 1, and this will help you calibrate the analog meters on your unit. If you go into test mode 2, this is where, which I think is very cool, will give you azimuth reading. You're in this price point, you want to know that your cartridge is aligned properly and you're reading a left and right channel properly. This phono stage will allow you to do that. It's got a built-in azimuth reader, and I think that's very cool because now you don't have to go out and get any other tools. And then test mode 3, press and hold the third time, is going to be a software update, and you'll see the little USB on the back. And then press and hold the fourth time, and you're back to operational mode. Can't stress this enough. I think this is, in my opinion, from selling hi-fi and working in hi-fi for I think like over 12 years now, I think this is one of the best phono stages on the market for the money. I think that's a strong statement, but I'm willing to say it because I've spent a lot of time with it now. I've run it with tube amplifiers. I've run it with moving magnet cartridges, a bunch of different things, very efficient speakers. I hear virtually nothing from the noise floor, and that's really important when you're investing in analog. So I hope you guys take a chance to look at it, and until next time.